All right, so tonight's session is all about online Airbnb experiences. So I'm going to go through and walk you through the back end of Airbnb and putting in your application. So the first thing you do need to do is get your Airbnb account set up. This can just be your like regular travelers Airbnb. So you would come in and you'd look at it from this angle here. And you would go into your profile and you would come in here and be able to click hosting an experience or hosting an accommodation. I don't have that option here because I have already just started hosting. So there's learn about hosting, all that there, which you can see. So I'm going to then go into managing experiences. So this is what the screen looks like. And I'm going to go here and, oops, I got another person here, gonna add in there. You're able to go in, press your plus button and choose your choice here. In person, online only. So, and it does let you know here that they've only got English and French available for hosting in right now, in case that does matter. And Anega, for as trainers, if you have anyone who's wanting to offer in a different language. And then you kind of just go through and fill all the different parts in. I can't go through it this way because it won't let me go into the different pieces here, without filling it in. So I'm going to just back out and go to my online experience, which I've already started. You can see that I've got some feedback to review here, but we're going to start with your idea. So this is where we were before. So it's going to ask for a bit more information here. This is pretty standard. What your experience will focus on. So there's all sorts of different themes you get to choose from here. And you can change it. So if we look at history, there's all sorts. You can search by it, or if they don't have it, you can kind of choose other.
More than one?
For this, you only choose one thing. So I did beer. Oh, what did I choose before? I think beer drinking tour. We'll put that there. So yes, so it's just one for that. And then you can choose an additional theme for your next part. If you want, you do have to choose one, but you can choose to put something else in. So I decided for mine, I think a decent amount of you did take my Witch Balls experience. So thank you for joining me for that. So I decided to choose wellness and mindset for that, because we're working with intention and energy, and so that's where I chose. I could have also chose, history for that. So there's some different options that you've got there. And then your next was putting in your language. Right now they do only have English and French. So in terms of how you put your experience on there, so you can offer it fluently for something else, but you can only post it in English or French. You wouldn't be able to post it in any other language. You can offer it in a different language.
Abby, I just want to make a precision on that. I think they can only review it in French or in English.
Yes, that's what I mean. Yes, they can only review in French or English, but you can offer it, so you can only fill out your experience in French or English.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Another really great feature that they've got here is they've got this tips option. So it tells you it gives you a little bit of help, a little bit of insight there, which is really nice. So that one, so here's where they start to tell you a little bit more of exactly what they're looking for here. And this is very similar to the in-person, except for the technical quality is something that's not something they're looking for on the in-person thing exactly. So they want you to have a decent camera. They want you to have good lighting. They want you to be comfortable using Zoom. One cool thing that they're going to do for you is they're going to give you a Zoom account that will allow you to host something longer than 40 minutes. So that is free with signing up there. It is still only a 20% fee, no extra for the Zoom account. You can't use it for other things except for your Airbnb because it comes in through there. As far as I understand, it kind of talks about that a little later. So it's for your Airbnb experience. But that's a pretty nice feature that they've partnered with Zoom there. So we're going to hit the get started and we're going to go in. So this is kind of, stuff that we've talked about a little bit when we're doing our workshops, and this is why we've got you involved. You are passionate, you have a skill for something, and you offer a valuable experience. This is another great thing for everyone here. It asks if you have hosted the activity before. So you get to say that you have taught this activity professionally, which is excellent. You do have the option to say you've done it informally. And so everyone here is going to do the yes, I've hosted or taught this experience professionally. If not, and you want to do this, you cannot go any further forward if you haven't hosted this. We will let you do it if you've done it informally. So if you have someone who's looking to do it, get them to, do it for your group a couple times or get them to do it for their family a few times so they're comfortable with it. So I'm going to go, yes, I've hosted or taught this activity professionally. And then we're moving into participation side. We talk about this. We don't want it to be a lecture. We want it to be a conversation. We want the people who are in here involved. So that's not too bad. And then they talk a little bit about, the side of things. If you're doing a craft cooking class, you want to make it easy to interact with. So gonna go by that. This part is important. So they want, there are certain things that they are looking for if you're offering an online experience. They want, you need to have good internet, you need to have good lighting. They are, later on we're going to see, but they are going to ask you to provide them with a video sample so that they can see the area you're going to host in, and to make sure that you have good internet, you have good lighting. You're not doing this from the middle of I don't know, like a crack den, for example. You're doing this from a decent place. So that's important. So, and we're going to hit got it here. This is where we get into the good stuff. So this is where you want to put in your experience description. And they've got a little bit of, what they want from you. They want you to describe exactly what you're going to do and unique details, get specific with it, and things that your guests want, and say what you want your guests to leave with. Great thing is that we all have our descriptions already, so it's very easy for you to go on 101, copy and paste that in. That's what I did. I didn't put anything new in mine, and they've accepted that there, because I also used basically the same description for my in-person, so we know that they'll take those. And again, they've got tips here for you. Do's and don'ts. You know, don't ask your guests to get supplies that are expensive or hard to find. Don't offer a loose or unorganized itinerary. All that good stuff. And then a nice thing that they do is they give examples. So that's good. And I would also recommend, you know, if you're really not sure, head to Airbnb online experiences and try and find one that might be similar to your experience to get a little bit of a feeling for some lingo to use. And again, I am here to help with descriptions. You can always contact me to help with that. Quite frankly, I enjoy making them. It's fun. So you'll put in your description. There isn't really a limit for your description. You just want to make sure that it's clearly defined. You're not leaving anything open-ended. Then they're going to ask where you're going to broadcast from. And so indoors or my personal property or outside, not in it. So here, if I'm going to select this just so we can go through that, so you know what you need. So then they're going to ask you to select locations. And there is a very long list here of all sorts of different places to choose from. So let me just, you know, I'm going to select this here, see what they're going to ask. And then you can change your locations here if necessary. I'm going to switch that back for me. Any questions about this page? You also have the ability to use the preview option to see what your experience is looking like so far, which is nice. Oh, shoot. So we were
in
review. Oh. Here's page. We are moving to the About You.
Abby, you just doing this on your phone? You can
Yeah.
do. Yeah. Okay, sweet.
I did both of my applications from my phone. It was very easy, but this is the setup for the on a desktop is very similar. It's just wider.
Okay.
But it's still got all the same stuff there. There's no difference. So you're going to put your name in, of course, and your profile picture. Pictures are probably the most difficult part with Airbnb experiences. You have to have a really good quality image. A camera phone, depending on how old it is, can give you a really solid image. It just has to be big enough. It has to be vertical for the most part. They will take some horizontal images for the miscellaneous part, but they do need to be good quality. So, and it's nice that they say that they won't accept photos, you know, like they want to know about you. This is all about locals, right? Airbnb wants to have that local experience. So yeah, it's nice, but as you can see, like you can't, you can have your personality, but you can't have logos or it can't just be your pet. You could have a photo of you and your pet, but not just your pet. So, and you are always able to update this stuff too. Say you got a fancy haircut, you could change your photo up. Next is going to be your bio, and we all do have our bio so far from before. If you're wanting to change anything up, you can absolutely contact me again and I can help you with your bio. And they do give those tips again.
Abby, I had a question on the bio.
Sure.
I see here you put it like at the third person.
Yeah.
Is that what I can't recall? Is that what we did for all of the profiles on the website?
Oh, almost. I'm pretty sure most of them are in the third person. And that's because the first few that I got were in the third person and I just kept that theme going. But you can do it in the first person. It's really up to you for that.
Okay. I'm just wondering, I'm kind of questioning because, you know, you're trying to connect with people and I don't know. And if I'm reading it to the third person, I don't know if we're missing a bit that connectivity with that person.
Sure, that's a very good point. So we can change them going forward to be in the first person, absolutely. And which wouldn't be too hard, but if anyone needs help with me converting that for them, I would be happy to do so.
Okay. I mean, that's just my idea. I don't know how people feel about it. I'm not Mrs. Grammar, but.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I think I've got that wrong, Nicole. I think that, yeah, okay, sorry. I wrote mine in the third person for some reason, but when we have them on 101, they are actually all in the first person. I was thinking it backwards. The experiences aren't done in the first person. The experience descriptions weren't, the bios are. So, because all of them kind of started like, hey, my name is. So yes, all of the ones we did are done that way. And I have, mine is in the third person here.
Okay. So, yeah. Thank you.
So here's some do's and don'ts that they've got there. And some really important things. You know, what is your experience behind this? How long have you, like, why are you able to offer this experience, basically, you know, which we all have based in our bios, really. So you should be able to take those and put them right in, absolutely. And of course, you don't want to come off like you can't do this. Nicole.
Sorry, if you want to go up, the first question, mention the ratings and reviews from other offline experiences. So how would you do that?
So
like I would just say, oh, I've got a online experience that I have 100 reviews. Is that like I would go about sharing that?
That's how I take that. I believe that would be more towards have like your in-person Airbnb experience. So you can say, I offer this experience in person on Airbnb, and I you know, it's been very well received. I've had this many people come out and my reviews are really good, but I've decided to make this more accessible to the world by offering it in an online format. So that's how I would take it and how I would write it.
I think it might actually be more kind of your experiences that you've had in running your own business, or experiences going towards this that you've already had and people have given you reviews. So for example, if you had a business that maybe you were part of Airbnb before, or maybe you weren't, maybe you just taught classes and you had feedback, you can mention that, you know, this was taught in several locations. They really enjoyed it. We had fantastic feedback. So an example of that would be teaching at a library where you get a 4-star or 5-star review teaching at libraries, that kind of thing. I think that would also be included in this. So I think this would be a lot with the people who have experience already and they have reviews from their experiences, but many of us are new to this, so we won't have a lot of reviews for this. So then we can highlight things like, you know, this has been presented within my friend group to fantastic response, and I've been encouraged to allow other people to see this or to bring this to a platform that is more accessible. Yeah. So I think that it is an important thing to find some way to highlight your experience, even if you don't have experience. But if you do have experience, then you should really mention some of the things that you have had before.
Absolutely. And that's a great point, Geraldine, to be able to say that. And you can say that through the 101 Experiences program, I have offered this in an online format before. So you could even, talk
Absolutely.
to how many people you've had in your experiences. But you don't have to, especially if this is if so. I didn't add this into mine. I just put my bio in here, but I'm going to go back in and add that in. I just kind of went with what I had from before, but it's a good to put in for sure. You also have the ability here to add in team members. So this would be good for Barb and Sandra specifically right now, or if anyone else is looking to get some, get a co-host. There's nothing else that you need to add in here. It's no extra questions here. As you can see, I'm toggling back and forth. It's not giving me the option to add more in.
Because if we put down, I have a team who helps me host, could we plug in, if it does give a description later, the 101 Experiences?
I guess so. If you have a co-host with you, like how we did that before, and as if I don't know if anyone saw Lynn's post on Facebook, she made a very good point that it's great to have a co-host there in case your connection drops for some reason or something happens, that your co-host can keep the group together and the room doesn't drop off. It would be in that sense. It would be in the sense of, for example, Elisa, who had her sister doing her cooking with her, you kind of like your production team, as opposed to who helped you to create the experience. They might take it if it comes to that point later on, but in this sense, that's kind of what it's asking. Who is helping you to administer your experience in that moment?
Okay, thanks, Abby.
Okay, and there were no tips in terms of that there. So that's this page, the bio area. Any questions about the About You section? Okay, so next it's what guests need to bring. And this is particularly important for our culinary experiences, our art experiences, craft experiences. So what they need to be able to do it, a complete list of ingredients, and put it in here. You can have it sent to them later in an email, kind of in their confirmation. It'll all be sent to them again, but I wouldn't, you don't necessarily have all that contact with the people who book in. So it's very important to put it here and be specific to what you need. And most of us, if we did do this, probably, luckily from offering the campaign, know if we made any mistakes in terms of what we told people to bring or forgot anything to add in on their descriptions. So that's one thing you'll keep out of your description from before that we had in the on the 101 Experiences. You'll only put in the part about your description, not the what you'll need part. So just be aware to not copy and paste that in. You'll put it in at this point, and you do it one piece at a time. So as you can see here, I've got each piece available, and you can add in basically as many as you need here. They've got some tips, what's needed versus what's nice to have. That example is my experience. There was specific things you needed for it, like the jar. That was a key component. But if you wanted to bring some crystals, or if you wanted to bring some ribbons, that was more of a nice to have side of it. great to offer alternatives or substitutions. This I think is important if you're doing something specifically local. For example, let's say Pam's experience with maple syrup. If she's offering something that's available in Canada, but maybe not in other countries, maybe give some ideas of what could be substituted there that's available elsewhere. I know that can be tough because there are lots of different countries and stuff, but try your best for that. You're able to write a lot in these areas too. Before I had moved on, I had put in the part about my website at this point. And you can write a big long blurb in here. It doesn't have to be like one after another. So if say, Anna, if you're putting in that you need to have a can of Sprite, you could say a can of Sprite or ginger ale or 7-Up. You can list off a few different things there.
Good, thanks. And I suppose that's where you got to make sure the measurements are okay in different countries too.
Yes, absolutely. So if you want to do imperial and metric there, that's great. And like it says here, you want to make it very clear what guests need up front so they understand what's required of them when they book. And then what they need to prepare beforehand. So using Elisa's example again, you would want to have your deep fryer or your oil heated up, going into, so that you're ready to go. There's no waiting for your oil to heat up kind of thing. If you require that, you may have time from the start to say at the beginning of your experience, okay, we'll turn it on now. Or if you want the oven preheated, that kind of thing. Your don'ts. This is a great one. Assume your guests know what you're talking about. So, break it down. Be like, break it right down for them, especially if you're really culinary oriented. Make sure that everyone can understand it. And another great one, not asking people to spend a lot of money. Hard to get supplies. Especially in the middle of a pandemic, some stuff is hard to come by, and also, don't put everything into one box. You want to split it there, or else it's going to come up on one long line. And then they don't want you to send a longer list of items after they book. Put the full list in here. You are able to have some contact with them, but it is way better to put it in here so they know what is expected before booking, so you don't have any cancellations or upset people once they do book, and then you send them this list and they're like, this wasn't what I signed up for. So that's a very important part there. Okay, so that is the what should I bring aspect. Does anyone have any questions there? So this is an important one, and it's a little bit longer, and there's a lot of different things here. So who can attend your experience? You have a minimum age, and it just like lists all of them here. So I chose 18 for mine. Based on kind of Canada and talking about beer and stuff, that's why I chose my limit. You can choose the one that works best for you. And then it does have the question here about bringing kids under 2 years of age. So if mom and dad want to do a date night, but they've got a little one at home, like, is it okay if they're holding their little one while they're doing this kind of thing? And it's good to allow this, but if it's something, again, like Elise says, you may not want to be holding your baby while you're deep frying. Then we're going to go to accessibility features, and this as much as you can have this, it's really good to make your experience more inclusive to anyone. However, some of it, you know, you might not be able to offer right away if you have to get new equipment for it. So you may want to offer your experience and save up some of that money to be able to add in some of these. So if we want to click on them, I'll click on all of them so you can go through, we can go through and look at them. So there's communicative features. So descriptive audio for people who are blind, or ways for people who are hard of hearing. You know, if you haven't the ability to offer subtitles or something like that, or that kind of thing. So that I don't know how many people are able to offer this, but it's always great to be able to, you know, for the inclusivity of it. And then we go environmental. To be honest, some of these things, I'm not exactly sure why they put it on the online thing, because I mean, accessible bathroom, you're doing this online. So it's not, I think that they just kind of like put that in from the in-person. So when this part comes up, you know, not necessarily important, but actually, and I didn't see this when I was scrolling through, but something that is good to say is, you know, no extreme sensory stimuli, a lot of flashing, a lot of, you know, something that could potentially give someone a seizure. So that's I'm going to keep that one actually checked off for mine now. And then you can add a little bit more in there. Yeah, so it says add in anything. So tell us more, and if only transitional, describe for how long. So I know there's nothing really I can say there besides there's nothing that's going to be incredibly stimulating to the eyes. So I'm going to put that in. I'm going to go past this to the other features. So this is a good part. Are you offering a break in between? Most of our experiences have been developed so they're not super long, but you can say so for that one. Otherwise, maybe adaptive technology, if that applies to anyone. But again, a lot of these also don't apply to an online experience, so you don't have to worry about that. Having a refrigerator available for your online experience for your guests. So next, and then we're going to move past this. So this is important to some of us who are offering an online experience that is also fitness-based, like Aga with your Nordic walking, or Alex Gagnon with Broomletics. You want to be able to do this if you're having people participate in person. Actually, I guess Aga, yours was more about, you know, talking about the
Yeah.
act of it. So for Alex, or for Kayla, or for Nadine in yoga and like Wild Toes and Broomletics, this is important. If you're having people participate with you, making sure you put this in, you know, what level should they expect. And then a skill requirement is important for some of us who are doing, you know, a cooking class. Like if you're doing pasta making, like that's not necessarily the easiest thing, but you know, Anna, your scones is a very simple recipe to be able to offer, and anyone can kind of get involved there. And then they've got a little bit of here, you know, what we suggest is doing something that's beginner level. And then here is the additional requirements part. So this is the part where I've put in my Witch Balls website. And I've said, you know, participation is not necessarily, you don't have to do it in the moment. You can watch and learn how to make it, take notes. That's fine. And then I'll go into the fact that there are lots and lots of items you can put into your Witch Ball. So I've then put in my website there, and that you can bookmark it to save for a later date. Any additional requirements you may have for this? I'm trying to think of an example besides mine where this would really be required. I think for the most part, everyone who's here wouldn't necessarily need this part. Just going to pop open the tips here to to show what this is, remembering that people might be booking for multiple people at once. You've got the event planner of your friend group who's going to book for everyone. So making sure that all those details are there. Being honest about who should take this, because that's really important coming back into reviews. You don't want to, kind of fudge it and then someone comes back and says, this isn't accurate and this was not enjoyable for me. It's good to, if you're going to have children, it is very important that they're accompanied by their adult. Anything they need to read or prepare. But don't expect guests to have your same skill level or expertise. So be prepared to have all various skill levels and expertise joining you. I think everyone's pretty good with that. Especially with like our yogis and our fitness experiences. But I think most physical requirements that would put safety at risk, again, that's probably more with our fitness or something like Elisa's, which is involving, a very hot deep fryer. That's a little bit more on the risky side. And then select what's involved. Yeah, that's important too. If you're going to select high activity or skill level, explain why, what would be involved. And again, misleading guests about your accessibility and adaptations. You don't want to say that you're able to accommodate someone who is deaf or blind and you can't. So yeah. All right. So I'm just going to quickly go up here and unselect this so I don't change my application too much and hit next. Ooh. And come back to that. Okay. So you can see that it won't let you move on if things are not finished. So that's why I couldn't start an application from scratch to go through this with you. I needed to have one finished. Okay, so next, here's a big one that we've kind of talked about a bit. You need to have a title, and it can only be 40 characters. So you got to be short, descriptive. You got to be exciting. You got to be eye-catching. If you would like some help creating a title, again, I'm here for that. And they're also a little bit selective in certain characters. So my original experience, for example, is that yes, okay. Had the colon. They won't take that. They're even kind of like questioning my dash. They put it, if I move it, oh, oops.
Abby, do they specify whether or not the title of your experience can be phrased as a question? As in, how would you like to know more about witch balls?
So let's see. I wasn't quite sure because I didn't try to put this in. So how about I'm going to say, let me try. Why not? Since we're here. So they won't take a question mark. So then
Nicely done, thank you.
You wouldn't be able to. So I'm going to just quickly rewrite this in so we can continue forward.
And I think, Abby, when you went to the tips on the last don't, there was no punctuation.
Yes. Yeah. Yes. Right. I did read that and totally didn't think of it. They will take a dash though. They do question it. But you can put it in. Yes, so yeah, so we've underlined some things you may want to review, but they will take the dash. And in my title, I could leave it as Witch Balls and Beer, but I like to have that part in like Women in Brewing. That's a bit more into it. And they have accepted this exact title for my in-person, so I do know that they're okay with it. I like this title, but it's short. It's when we're getting into like way longer titles that you want to condense it down. I'll pull up these tips again so we can see things that make it unique. Action verbs are always important to put in there, and again, keeping it short and specific. And that's a good point that it's saying here, like a lot of people use the Airbnb app from their mobile. So, you know, if it's super long and taking up most of the screen, like that's not great to look at. Aesthetically pleasing. They don't want you to say online or variations. They don't want you to say virtual. So just keep that out. I would assume everyone who's looking for online experiences realizes that they are online. So you don't have to basically waste your characters in saying that. Vague or lengthy. There's really no room for vague or lengthy titles anyways with 40 characters. And you can't use emojis, punctuation, all caps, no yelling at people, or slang. I feel like there are some things that, you know, if your experience was about, I don't know, for example, I'm going to use you, Anna, if you wanted to do something around, you know, Australian terminology and slang. I feel like there is that they would review it and see that that's what your experience is about. For example, in terms of pictures, I was a little worried because for photos, they say no photos of alcohol. And my experience is all about beer. So I was like, oh, like how do I portray this? So I was like, you know what, I'm taking these photos anyway. And you know, it's relevant to the experience in that sense. So that's okay. So you're aware of that. And then again, they give you some examples of titles here, which is nice. Any questions about titles? Okay, I'm gonna go save. Next. Okay, so here's where we get into photos. There are several photos you need to have, 7 in total. You can click here, click there, and it'll go through here what all of the requirements are, how to display them.
So you have to have, do you have to have 7 photos?
Pardon me?
You have to have the 7 photos?
You have to have 7 photos and you can have up to 15. So I'm going to go back here. Oh, shoot. I'll go back here to show you. Photos, here we go. Okay, so you can see here that they've reviewed my photos, and these photos aren't these ones specifically are not okay. They don't accurately depict the real experience because people are together here in person. So I just kind of put them in because I don't have these photos yet, and I wanted to see, you know, would they take them? Because I was looking at other online experiences, and there's some they will, some they won't. So I'm wondering if I can remove that. No. So you can see this and this one, it's too similar to another photo. So these are some of the things that they won't accept. Photos must, again, accurately depict the real experience. They did, however, accept these ones. So my cover photo, show people interacting on your experience. So this is just, you know, me talking about the beer. It represents the experience, especially for online. Like this would be different for your in-person one where you would want to actually see people interacting. But for this one, it just shows me kind of interacting and talking about beer. Again, and none of your photos can be selfies. They cannot be posed. They all have to be, you know, in the moment, no staged photos. So no one, you know, you can't say stop and smile. So that's really important. That goes for every single one of these. They have your cover photo. So that's what's going to be shown when in the list of all of the different experiences. And then these next ones are what people can scroll through. So photos should include the guest or host interaction, the location we're hosting, and close-up details of the experience, and don't repeat any photos. So they did accept these ones for me. So this one, pouring beers, and this is host leading the activity. So they've got your cover photo. Next one is host showing yourself leading the activity. Third one is action, show guests engaging in your experience. And you're able to also add captions to these if you want to. To be honest, I'm surprised that this one worked as the action photo of my guests engaging, but I'll take it. This next one, details, capture up close. Oh, okay, so something's going on here. It's a little glitched. These photos are backwards. So this photo here is the one that I put in for the textures because it's got the smoke. It's a little bit more up close there. And then the showing guests engaging with your experience. Again, this is me. I'm going to switch here and show you somebody else's so you can see exactly what they're looking for, because mine aren't totally filled out here. I need some stuff. Oops. So then the next one, the location, show the full scene and try to include people. And then you get into these miscellaneous ones. So you have 6 specific ones that you need to do: location, details, action, host, cover photo, and then your miscellaneous photos get to be anything else that you want to include. They've also got these helpful resources, which I went into earlier, that you can look through and read. How are photos displayed, cover photo requirements specifically. So you can see it can't just be something without any people in it. There should be people in it.
Can we do a panoramic?
So do you mean one that would like move around, or do you?
Yeah, one of those pictures that pans the whole.
Okay,
area.
that's a great question, Geraldine, because I know you've got a garden, so that would be helpful. It doesn't say here, and it doesn't. I haven't seen one through all of my kind of moving through Airbnb, but you are able to put a video on. So I am going to switch out here. I'm going to stop my share here and move back and do a share from my computer. Can you see my screen? Yep, okay. So these are all the Airbnb experiences. Oh, that's awesome that they're doing all these Pride experiences. So let's see, I'm not going to go into the bestsellers because all these bestsellers are super intimidating. I went on and looked at this and they all have like professional videography and photos, and like we're in the middle of a lockdown. We can't get these people into our houses and that's expensive. So I'm going to do something a little different. So how about Let's go with this guy. Plan the perfect New York vacation. Okay, so yes, his photos are still like really nice, but there are lots of cameras that are like phone cameras and stuff that would probably be able to do this. So we can see like this is this first. Is it gonna let me click and open this up? Here we go. Okay.
The photos appear to have a very strong human interest. The pictures that are accepted seem to have a lot of hands and faces in there. And I noticed the one photograph, your cover photograph, has your face looking into your hands as it's decanting a beer into a glass.
Good
And
point.
so you know, the hands is a very powerful human interest angle. And if you look at it from a classical composition point of view, you know, the triangle of your eyes looking into your hands as you're working, you know, that was an absolutely excellent one, you know. So yeah, good work.
Thank you. I'll let my photographer know that you liked his photos. Yes, it's definitely, well, and you know, that's the thing, and that's a thing, like if we're gonna talk about eventually, like when you're marketing yourself and you're posting photos that gets the most interaction are photos that have people's faces or a human element to them. So you know, if you're taking a photo of a can of beer, don't just put it on a table, hold it in hands and take that photo. You're going to get way more interaction with the photo. You know, you can kind of like relate to holding that, or you can kind of put yourself into that person's shoes when you have that human element to it. There's only one photo where they want something more up close, and it's that one that's about those details and description and texture. Where you can kind of get in there, and they've accepted like my photo with the smoke there, and you can see the different elements that are included. Otherwise, they want your pictures to have people involved. Absolutely, Patrick. I'm going to skip past this first part because that's a video. But here,
Thanks for that.
Yes, absolutely. This is his cover photo because we saw that at the beginning. So this is what he's put on his cover, which is great. You can see that he's interacting with his computer. It's obviously online. It's not an in-person one. You can see that he's got good lighting and stuff. Then this next one is, again, they want a photo of the host. So this is actually a staged photo. So a little bit surprised, but it's also a good quality photo. So maybe that's, you know, there, I think you have a little bit of room there, but maybe have a few different options there where you are not posed. Just be aware that, you know, it might not work for you. And this is his photo, that up close texture photo. I would say if we read his description, this is going to be about, you know, planning your restaurants that you're going to go visit in New York and stuff. And you can kind of get that sense from that. You can see him here interacting with his guests. So that's one of the ones. They want interaction between you and your guest. You know, some more interaction, the host being involved there. Taking notes, what is going to be happening. So he's doing itinerary planning. So you can see him taking notes here. Good on this guy for doing this as an experience. Oh, this is good. So this is about location, right? So you want to show your location, his experience. Well, you did see where he's hosting the experience. He is helping you plan a New York itinerary. So you can see one of those iconic bridges in the background. So that's an important part there. Okay, and then you can also see, you know, guests in New York. So maybe this is an after the fact photo of your guests, you know, having finally taken their trip. So Anna, for example, you could potentially have photos of people who took your experience sitting down and eating their scones together. That would be a way to include that, and that could be like that the guest interaction photo. And we're also now getting into like his miscellaneous photos, since we're at photo technically 9, because that first one is a video. So I'll just go through and show some more of these here to you to get in some more sense here. And it's also these photos, you can see they're also showing his expertise. So you can see he knows different restaurants to go to, and these are photos of right in New York. So that's showing his expertise there. He is right in New York. He is a local. That's portrayed through his photos. And that's a selfie too. So there, like I said, there are a few exceptions. It's a high quality selfie. The background is New York. So, you know, there is a little bit of leniency, but don't expect too much of it.
Are you able to explain that, Abby? Like, you know, you were saying that yours was about beer. So beer was part of the pictures that had to be there. Are you able to explain a picture or a reason for that picture if they've disagreed with that picture?
So
do you know?
Let me just pull it up. So no for sorry, Geraldine, just let me pull this up so I can make sure I'm writing this right. So it's when I will stop share here and reshare over here. So you aren't able to say why you've put it in. This is what they give you back if they don't want it, and they'll say why they won't take it. So like with these ones, you know, they are there. It is a human being who's going through these. So, you know, if that's where that leniency comes from. So no, you can't. Short answer there. But be aware, know that there is a human who's looking at them. So it's not like it's like a computer program that's looking for very specific things and is going to throw them out without, you know, putting that thought behind why you would have put it in. With mine, I totally get why they're not taking this. Like this is an in-person experience. What I'm showing here, that's not really logistic to it. If it was instead my 2 guests not with me from home following along, that would be accepted. It looks like I did submit 2 of the same photos here. So that's why that one, and then, you know, this one again, like if it had been my 3 guests separate from me, if they were on a laptop and I'm retaking these pictures, so what I'm going to do is have them at home on their laptop zooming with me, and I'll get some photos that way. So that's why these ones specifically weren't taken. Same like this photo, while it is only them, from the other photos you can tell like they were in the same area. So if I was in the brewery by myself with my camera, that would be fine. And if they were from home, do you kind of understand there? Go ahead, Anna.
So okay, so I'm doing my cooking class, and so say I get Aga, her husband, to take a photo of Aga watching me teach the, scone making, and he gets her from behind and then see, you know what I mean? Like that view.
Yeah, and can see you
Yeah.
from her. Yeah, that would be
Yeah.
a great shot.
So that sort of stuff that we all interact, that's okay.
Yeah, that would be a great shot. The other ones you could see like him on his computer. If you don't have someone like right there with you, the way I would say the way to solve that would be how that gentleman did, where he had pictures of people who were in New York, or like I said with yours, Anna, if you had two people eating their scones afterwards, you could stage it that way. So it could be from your home and you do that with your family, but like you don't exactly know. In terms of guest interaction, you can kind of fake it so it looks like you're interacting with your screen, but not necessarily showing your screen, so that they can't see that there's no one there, but it looks like if you're there like mixing, talking to your screen, that would be guest interaction. So there you can, fake it a bit. And if you go through and look at other these online Airbnb experiences, you can see other ones that do have that there because they don't have someone on the other end for them. I am going to, so I can do this from here and it'll be good. I'm going to go back to the traveling side, go to the online experience. He's here. This will be quicker and faster. I'm going to scroll down past these bestsellers. So here, let's have a look at these ones. So this one, for example, is showing her cooking, making everything up close photo again. You've got those that texture piece. And we see here she doesn't even have any photos with her with the camera. It's all her photos are kind of from the perspective of the guest. So that's another option there for you. And it's just, you can see her, it looks like she is talking to someone to the side, interacting with someone. So especially right now in the middle of the pandemic, I think there may be even a little bit like more accepting of certain things. If we go here, this gentleman, like I said, you never see his guest. It's all from behind, very up close. And this one, he's coming from Jamaica. So pictures of chocolate origins, exactly where it's coming from. The ingredients, that texture piece. And so that's photos. You can also put videos. So let me find you where actually this gentleman had one. So I'm not going to play the sound for you because I'm going on two screens. It'll start to like make that feedback noise. I don't know how well is it really choppy for you guys? It's okay. It's a little choppy on my end. Okay. So yes, so there is a video requirement, but you're able to put on that video. So Geraldine, you could, instead of having a panorama, you can have a video like out interacting with your garden and be able to show it off that way.
Yes, that would be perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
And I could talk over, I'm sure.
Yes, all of these have that, so you don't necessarily have to like be in it. You could like have voiceover on your video. So just to show you, so like some of these bestsellers, where is it? Like this woman's is oh, here we go. So she's edited different ways, going through all the parts there. You get to a real sense of the experience. You can't just submit a video. You do have to also submit your pictures, but you do not have to have a video. You do have to do a video submission. We'll talk about that next. But for your application here and your photos, you don't have to have that video piece. So like this is the one, the first one I watched, and I was like, I can't do this. Like, this is professional videographer right here. But you can see like they've had 1,800 people take their experience, which is neat. And so this one looks fun. So yeah, you don't be, if you're going on here and looking, don't be intimidated by these ones that have these professional videographers. You're able to still do this. Okay.
I hate to butt in here. That last video was very interesting from the point of view of being chop shots. Each one of those scenes was only about 2 seconds or so that were all edited together. So I think it might be within the realm of a lucky person to actually put together a half decent video. If you remember to watch the clock, like all the action shots within about like 2 seconds tops.
Yes, absolutely. Or this gentleman, so his experiences, you know, and he's put in all these different parts. His experiences all fully recorded beforehand, and then he is there and does the voiceover there live with you, but it's all recorded there. So just some different ones here. We'll have a look at this gentleman. He actually doesn't have a video.
So you're saying the one you were just showing that had the video and he was doing a voiceover, this one here?
Yeah.
So this video is recorded ahead of time, you said?
Yeah.
And he's just doing the talk through as he goes. That's actually a really good idea.
Yeah, especially for these outside experiences. And if you don't have a very good connection, like if you have a camera or a GoPro, go ahead and go around and do your experience and record it. And then, you know, be in there. That I have a participant right now who's going to do that for her Indigenous foraging experience. She's going to go through the trails and show different things, and then be there with them. That's great. The only thing you want to make sure of if you're going to do this is that you've got a good enough internet connection to be able to play that video at the same time that you're live streaming yourself. And so that's the only thing you need to kind of think about that way if you're going to.
Yeah, that might be crappy.
Yeah. But it might be a better choice than if you have a bad video connection, or Geraldine, like if it's pouring rain outside, right? If you're going to do your garden tour and it's pouring rain outside, you don't want to ruin your camera, that kind of thing. So even if you don't always do it, you may want to have that available. Say, you know, you've booked today normally, or maybe not say normally we'd be out there, but just, you know, it's pouring rain here today, so you know, here's my garden on a nice beautiful day, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Okay, so yeah, so I'm trying to think if I've seen any other experiences that would be worthwhile to chat about. There's all sorts of different stuff here. Lots to give you some inspiration if you need it. Please go on here and look. There's so much stuff. I'm going to go and switch back here, toggle back to my experiences side. You also get to see a little bit about how to navigate here. I'm going to go to my experiences, go to my unpublished. I'll go down. Settings, photos is where we were last. So we're into settings now. So here is group size. We've all had to already consider this. We've all had the option kind of if we needed to up our amounts or take them down and stuff. So you have these options. They do have a suggestion for you of 8 if you've never, well, they don't give you the option to never host before, but they suggest 8 and you can change it. So in this section for booking people only, if you're booking non-private experiences, you can only do up to 10 for this. So that's what I have picked. And you can, and the minimum is 1. You can't change that. You can't say minimum any other minimum. It will always be 1. That's kind of like a across the board Airbnb rule. They do also tell you a bit of tips. You know, it's easier to interact with a small group. It's, yeah, that smaller group size, it's easier to establish a connection with a smaller group. It's also a lot easier if you've got a lot of questions that are going to come out there, right? So, and I know that myself personally, I upped my amount of people for my witch balls experiences because I ended up having a lot of people not show. But that's because, you know, our experiences were free. When people are investing money, they're going to show. You would assume, not just, you know, book and not come unless it's some emergency or something, in which case they'll cancel. So that's for this part. With your like general booking, you can only have up to 10. Now they're going to talk about how long it is. You know, their ideal length is 2 hours. But again, you want to make sure your content is going to keep people engaged through the whole thing. So important to remember that if you're going to think about going longer. And you know, physical strain of that screen time. And I feel like 2 hours is still a long time to be on your data, where they're saying you're wanting to be respectful. But yes, so you have all these options. I don't know who's hosting a 16-hour online experience, but that's something. So you can choose, and you can do up to a half an hour experience. So there is that option there. So now that most of us have had the chance to offer and online, we know about how long our experience is going to go. What time you typically start, you are able to change this later on. And I can show you this from the in-person side, because the availability side of things will be the same. So we'll do that. And then when are you typically available to host? You can say, I don't know yet, depending on when you're going to do this. So myself, I said weekdays and weekends. And then it's going to say, you know, what are popular times to start? Or a neat thing that they do is they give you averages based on the last little while. So here you can see in the last 14 days, 5 p.m. was, you know, a really great time to host experiences. And they're going to be booking for a variety of different time zones. So it may be beneficial for you to have various different times you offer. Any questions about your
I think 5 o'clock was the best time. Why do you think that was the best time? You think it's because everybody's just sitting down to supper and they're turning on an experience while they eat?
My educated guess would be 5 o'clock, like our time. You know, there's people are either like waking up, it's morning breakfast, after breakfast, but still like not late enough that people are into bed. Like it's a decent all around time. I'm guessing this is based on like our time zone. They're showing me like for you where you are, like 5 o'clock would be a good time for you to host. And then they're going to convert that for the guest, and you're able to change your times. They're asking you this just like initially, but you have the option to set your time for each day that you offer. You can switch it. So if I say, you know, I'm going to offer it July 2nd at 2 p.m., but then on June 4th, I can't offer until 7 p.m. at night, you're able to change and offer that there. yeah, I don't know if anybody else might have an educated guess as to why that might be.
I'll throw one out there, that at 5 o'clock, could actually be in our own time zone where people are getting off of the banality of their work day,
Mhm.
and they have a certain shot of ambition. And, they'd be very interested in doing something at 5 o'clock. Whereas after they eat their supper, perhaps they bog down, like I certainly do. And, I'm in for, the count, basically. All I want to do is lay around, watch TV and do whatever, pet my dog or whatever, but right after work, I know that I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, that gray veil comes up and, I'm ready to go, but it doesn't last forever, but 5 o'clock sounds like a good one.
And another thing, like we're seeing a lot of these online experiences are cooking based. So if you want to do it at 5 so that you can then have that what you've made for dinner, that might be something that is influencing that time as well. Okay.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. Guest pricing, though, this is where we get into the pricing side of it, and you can at this point for private bookings change your guest amounts. So you do have the option here to see how do I set my price. So it gives you a little bit more help on how to set and customizing everything here. It doesn't exactly go into, like specifics on how to set pricing and whatnot, but geez Louise, it does help you a bit with that. But go back into guest pricing. Okay, so a really neat feature of this is that it shows you like what your earnings will be after they take away their service fees. So, if I decided I wanted to offer it for 60. Okay, well, it wouldn't let me put that 0 there, but $85, I would actually get 68. It's got a little question here. It's talking about that 20% service fee. Maybe you further reduced by applicable taxes. You can see transaction history for details of this. I don't have specifically those details about that, but Lynn has offered on Airbnb. She's never talked about it being 20% plus taxes. That I don't know if this applies in Canada right now, might be for somewhere else. It might eventually apply, because I know for some bigger companies like Netflix, for example, is now going to start offer taxes. So it might start to offer taxes, but if you, for an online experience specifically, it's not going to be that expensive, so your taxes might only be a couple bucks there anyways. But you're also able to, if you start do an experience, you see that there's taxes, you're like, oh geez, like like they're taking too much, I'm not making the profit I want, you're able to switch your price. You don't have to like restart your application, you're able to edit. You're able to choose if you want to. Actually, I'm pretty sure I put 0 in here for infants, because my infants under 2 won't be participating. But you're able to switch prices. It would also ask here, like if you are having children, you have that lower, you might have a different fee for child and then for adult. And it's also, again, here showing the median price of online experiences booked in the last 7 days. So that helps you to, make sure that your price is kind of on par with everyone else, so that you're not like crazy overcharging, and which would mean you might not get as many bookings.
Do they still have the option there where you can pick a private group can book with children? Instead of having a child disrupt, like, I wouldn't want to pay for an event and have a crying baby for half of the event and make it so that I wouldn't enjoy that event. And now, hey, come on, I love kids, but when I'm paying for an event, I want to learn about the event. So having children separate, for me, would be the way I would like to do it. And I'm wondering whether they offer that option.
Sure. I'm not sure because I'll go down for you. Like if where for me when I'm thinking that, okay, that's Sandra. Hey. Yeah. So Sandra, no problem. This is recorded. It'll be posted. It's long. So one option for you, Geraldine, like if you want to be able to say, you know, mom can have her baby there, just like ask people like in that situation, follow up with them if they say there will be an infant there, and be like, okay, well, so that, you know, other people taking this tour aren't interrupted, please keep yourself muted and put your questions in the chat if your baby's, you know, acting up and you're holding them.
Okay, I was more thinking about the in-person version.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not sure on that. I can maybe quickly near the end have a look at that. Or if you that will be something we can chat about on Monday when we do the in-person side of it. And that'll be recorded too if you can't make it. So this is a middle price. So there are some that are more expensive. So me specifically, the reason why I've chosen to go a little bit higher is because I have to have supplies for mine. I need to have that. So you know, every time I make one, a witch ball, there's things that go into that I can't necessarily always reuse. So that's why I've put it a little bit up, which is important for, like, you know, culinary experiences. If you don't have anything that it can't be, if your tour or something, you know, something that's not going to expire, you could do a little lower, but it is up to you for that. You do have group rates available, and you're able to offer that. Not necessary if you do not want to. So I've said that if a group of 6 and up to, and it doesn't give you the option to change, 6 and up to 20, they only allow 10 in a group. So I'm not sure why they say 20 there. If they book 6, book all at once, I'll give them 20% off. Don't have to do that. And it here is where it sets it. So if I decided to change this instead to 15, it'll then, you know, change here. So you see what that would be. And it again shows you what your earnings would be, which is important. Okay, so, and yes, you can remove the group rate so you do not have it. And you can also create another group rate. So if you said, so that one was 6, but if I said 3 people book all together, I would give them this, but then 6 people book, I would give them this discount. So this is showing, now this comes up for you and shows you kind of your potential earnings, which is nice. So you can see, so at an individual rate, if I have 5 people sign up, this is what I will make after removing the 20%. I'm going to make $100. If 10 people, I'm going to make 200. But then on group rates, if I have those 6 people, I'll make 118 off those 6 booking together. And if I get that maximum group size of 10, I'll make 196. So it's a nice way for you to kind of see how that'll work for you. So that's for the group rate size. Any questions on this? Next will be private groups. Okay, so saving that and next. Okay, so private groups. So you can choose not to allow private groups. You can choose to allow private groups. And I'm saying my minimum price is 180. So if one person decides they want me to do this just for them, I'm going to charge them 180. And that's the minimum price. They will then do, you get to choose your max group size, and this is where you're able to do a group of up to 30. Depending on your experience, I wouldn't recommend 30 people. That's a crazy amount, unless you have specific rules set to that. So you say you have to put your questions into the chat or send your questions to your whoever is kind of booked it. So if, like, the planner of the event, you can give them specific set rules on how you would interact with a group of 30. And you can also, at that point, you're going to be communicating with a private group. So they say, like, if you have 30 people, the event is going to be 3 times as long, kind of thing. And then it again shows you how a private group could pay. So compared to your regular price. So you can see here that regularly, if I had 2 book for a private, I get 180. Whereas you can see, like, if I just got a group and just had 2, I would only make $40. And you can see how it goes up from there, and it talks to you to that. Talk to you later, Geraldine. Okay, so we did that part. And next,
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Okay, so the booking settings here, they tell you here, like, they make suggestions, like, for additional guests to it. I said 0 because in an in-person or an online experience, it doesn't, if someone's already booked in, it doesn't matter to me if more people are added in, so they can book right up till the last minute. In person, this is different, especially if you've got supplies that you need to bring. This might change, but in terms of an online event, if you've already got someone booked in, why not just leave it till the start time, if you can make some more money from it that way. Cutoff time for your first guest. Now you are able to make this, like, right before the event, if you are good with that. Myself, I get anxiety if I don't know the plan. So for me personally, I would prefer to know 24 hours before if I'm going to be doing this tour, so I can, like, mentally prepare myself and get into the mind zone. But you do have the option, and they do recommend that you do less of a time, up to 4 hours. I can't handle that, so that's why I've set it to 1 day before. And then you have the option to be able to toggle off here that people can request dates and times from you that might not be listed, and they'll be able to contact you to do so. Yeah, again, if you have a strict schedule, you don't have the option to give other dates. Just don't click that in there. And again, these tips here, remember, shorter windows lead to more bookings. 0 hours for online is easier to book last minute. So, if you have, there's a couple and they're, what are we going to do tonight? And they're like, oh, let's see what Airbnb experiences are offered tonight. And they can just, go on and say, oh, this one, let's sign up. Bam, they're signed in there. So that's where, you can get those potential more bookings. Okay, back to this part here, the booking settings. Any questions? Okay, and now here is the video demonstration part. So there is, this is probably between the two, between an online and in-person experiences, like, photos are hard, but this is probably the most time-consuming part of it. I did do this in 1 night, but it took me about 24 tries to get it right, because I knew that I personally wasn't going to be doing video editing. So if I made a mistake, I had to restart. So, be aware of that. So there is a step-by-step guide of what you need to have and the checklist here. I'm gonna let it open up. Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. There's another spot that is able to do it here. For your video demonstration. Okay, so sorry about that. We're going to just move down here. So uploading your video. So like I said, they will give you a Zoom account. But for this, you're not going to have it. So if you want to sign up for a free Zoom account to record it, I did try doing this, but I was finding it very cumbersome. So I just ended up recording my video from my phone because I do have a very high quality camera to be able to do that. So you can see here, it says, if you're already an approved online experience host, you'll need to use a personal Zoom account or a different program to record, since recording is disabled on Airbnb provided Zoom accounts. So you cannot use your Airbnb Zoom account for, anything else, your 101 experiences, meetings and stuff like that. And they do have specific things. So you can see here that it has to be in an MP4 format and it has to be under 1 gig. So something that is interesting about that, because they do want to see the high quality, camera, but those high qualities do take up more memory. So mine at a very high quality was over 1 gigabyte. So I had to lower the quality in order for it to fit. So that's kind of interesting. So I'm going to click here on this, how to create the great submission or video submission. And it's going to, here we go. Yeah. The basics. So they want to see your technical quality. Make sure you know how to use Zoom and that your audio and video are clear. Like I said, I didn't use Zoom, but they wouldn't be able to tell if I didn't use Zoom for it, because it's, it was in front of me. I was talking to it just how I would use Zoom. They want your expertise in storytelling. So this is kind of like your 15-minute, it's almost like your pitch, to be honest, telling them exactly about what you're doing. So, but they do, you want it to be a little longer, where your pitch was 5 minutes. So you're going into a little bit more detail and going through your itinerary there. They want to know about you. Sorry, go ahead.
Is it 15 minutes, this video?
So it is up to 15 minutes. It can be no longer than 15 minutes. So, if you wanted to just do your quick pitch, you could, but they are asking you, they do want to know your background, share any personal stories that showcase your passion, tell them a bit more. They want you to be well rehearsed and what you're providing. And sorry, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. They being well prepared, that your environment and your supplies have been well thought out. So for example, for mine, I did have my witch balls here to show. And I also, at the beginning, I was like, hey, welcome, held up my beer and said cheers, incorporated that little piece to it. And then want to know every stage. So they want the outline and the structure and how guests are going to participate in it. So what I'll do is, when I do share this video, I'll also share my video that I made and submitted. But basically I said, to start out, I'm going to tell everyone about me, about why I practice witchcraft. And I did say why in my video, because they asked to tell about behind you. And then I said, we're going to start out and I'm going to give the history lesson, but I'm going to tell about different kinds of witches and ask my guests, what kind of witch are you? Have you had any experiences with witchcraft, that kind of thing. And then go into talking about how to make witch balls and what we're going to put in. And people can then ask me questions about what the best thing to put in. And then moving on to the oracle cards. And then I said, at this point, people can decide to leave if they want, or they can stay for their oracle reading. I'm going to go to person one by one. And I actually shuffled my cards and went through that process with them. So that's good. So like they say, they want you to show us the key elements, the learnings, the highlights, the takeaways of that experience. And then, so you then upload it here. Here's about, creating it. so and also if anybody needs help with how to record on Zoom and where it might potentially get stored, because I know that was something I recorded and then I thought I lost my videos and didn't know where to find them, because your computer may store them in a weird spot. Just let me know, I can help with that. And then, it's suggested best practices. So setting your stage, and it really should be where you're going to be hosting your event, your experience, so they see where that will be. But not having, unless it matters, like not having your pets in with you. Me personally, cats. I have cats and witches. If my cat's floating around in the background, I would consider that, part of my aesthetic. As a witch. But Anna, if you're in your kitchen cooking, you don't want your cat or your dog in the background, kind of, so that there's that there. Set the scene. Alex Boudreau did a great job of this. He had his whole background set up and stuff. So if you were wanting to, get a bit more into that, or organize your plants, so guests can see your world, who you are. That's what this is all about, is connecting with people. And here's a good thing to note, like if you're using artistic, musical, dramatic, literary video, it has to be something, yes, or kids in the background, Anna, you're absolutely right. If you're using any of that, if it's not something you created, you must have permission to use it. And that is something they will follow up on with you. They're going to say, like, when it comes back and it says there are things for you to review, it's going to ask you, do you have permission to use this? And while right then it might not make you like provide proof, if someone comes back to you and you've said that you did have permission and you don't, like, there's penalty there. You can be taken off Airbnb, so be aware of that. And another thing, like if possible, interact with a guest, show that happening. A lot of the videos that we saw on the Airbnb platform there are the videos that people submitted for this. So they encourage you to use this video that you make, upload that for your experience. Not necessary, and you can change it, but I mean, if you're already making one, why not make it serve two purposes? And they do, want you to get technical. They want your camera to be at a good angle, not up the nose, good distance, not very zoomed in. You want to be able to see you well. You want to make sure that your audio is good, that you don't have background noise. If you need to, use those headsets and those earbuds. And of course, what we always talk about, that internet speed, making sure that is right up to par. Then we get into a little bit more of how to perform this. And I think that because we've all gotten the chance to do the passion fair and pitch, everyone is probably a little bit more prepared for this. So again, setting your stage and stuff, but start strong, have a good lead into it. It's your first impression. This is like, if you're going to put this up for people to watch, this is what they're basing booking with you on. So make sure that you make it, nice and strong. And another thing that we're always telling, you are the star, you are the expert, you're the one with the passion. So demonstrate that in there, and keep it lighthearted. This, it's all about fun, conversational, casual. Show that to them. So when I did mine, I very much treated it like I was speaking to someone in front of me, asking me to tell them about my experience. It wasn't me just talking to no one. So that's important. And again, if you're putting finishing touches on and anything that is not yours, you need to have rights to those things in order for it to be displayed there. So if you're this top part, just to clarify where it's asking you about, sorry, let me just find it here. Okay, so like the background here and using, you know, if you've got photos or you've got art and stuff, you have to have permission to use those for your submission. And then on top of that, if you're going to be using anything, if you're going to use the submission video in your as the video you put onto your profile, you have to have then the rights to do it, or else, you know, if you're putting music there, they're going to take out your audio for that, or they're not going to allow you to use it. You have to have those rights. Okay, so that is how all of that info on the checklist for that video submission. And like I said, that's probably the toughest part in all of that there. And then, oops, that is the end where you get to go to review and submit. So it's going to ask you a few things like, are you complying with local tourism laws and location requirements, specifically, you know, around COVID? I've been asking, so like, does any of this apply to you? Less necessary licenses, permits, permissions. Me, I'm doing this from my home. I don't need a permit to do it from my home. I'm not supplying anyone with beer, so I don't have to have a permit for that or a license. In here, we don't need that tour guiding or tourist services. Some countries you do need to have that. We don't need that. And then if you say I do not have the necessary licenses, you're not able to submit. It won't let you go any further. So you have to make sure to have that. And then asking you to review the policies, you know, that minimum guest. If one person books in, that means you got to do it. They're expecting you to host. Talking about the service fee. Another very important part here is exclusivity. So if you're someone who's deciding you're going to offer on Eventbrite and Airbnb, you cannot host them together. So Airbnb guests can only interact with Airbnb guests. I don't know if Eventbrite has that same policy, but yeah, Airbnb can only be solely Airbnb bookers taking part that night. So if you do decide that you're going to do both, make sure you're very conscious, either offer separate dates, or if you're going to offer the same and Airbnb gets booked, immediately take that off Eventbrite. I would not suggest doing that because, you know, it'd be that's a lot of organization on your part. Go ahead, Pat.
Abby, photographs and video and anything else that you're using to support your presentation, would those also be exclusive to Airbnb, or can they be shared, or is that a resource that can be shared with Eventbrite?
The photos you take for it?
Yeah, virtually everything in the presentation that you're submitting to Airbnb as your presentation, your online persona.
You would be able to use that's all your own content that you're putting in there. You can use the same photos you're using for Airbnb on Eventbrite. Lynn, for example, her photo, she uses the photos interchangeably there. So yes, that's not a problem. And that would be really rude of them to make you have to do a whole nother photo shoot for Airbnb specifically. So yeah. Okay, so that's that exclusivity piece. And then there's some more stuff. Your experience complies with local laws. All your descriptions, photos are your own, accurately reflect and agree to those Airbnb experience terms, guest refund policy. I'm not going to go through that. If you want to read them, you can go onto the Airbnb website, and those are very much provided there for you. And again, they want you to confirm that you have no copyrighted work included in there. or that you have secured the necessary rights, licenses, and permissions. So at this point, you would be able to hit submit. I can't hit submit here because I've already submitted. But you are able to, when you get to this point, preview. So this is what my experience looks like right now. You're able to toggle through the photos. This is what it would come up like to a guest. You can hit the read more to read that, what we'll do, all that good stuff. And it's stopping me there for that. So it would normally go further, but it's not allowing me in this case because of because it's not completely submitted yet. And then the last thing I want to do with this is just quickly go to the availability side of it so that people are aware of that. So this is my in-person experience. And it has been okayed. So I'm able to, once it's okayed, you're able to start offering your availability here. So this is what it looks like. It asks, it just brings up a calendar and you select a date. So right now I have August 17th selected so that I was able to see it live on the Airbnb website. I'm just going to, I'm going to scroll way far away so that if I put this up, no one's going to really book it. So this is if I wanted to book for January 4th, 2022, this is what it's going to ask me. So you're able to change the booking type. So nice if you want to offer it only to a private group, only a private group can book in with you this day. You're able to change that setting. You can change the time if you want to change what you would normally offer it. You know, like we talked about earlier, able to change that. Able to change the guest. You know, maybe you're offering this on a holiday. You're deciding to not be with your family. So if people want to book you that day, they have to pay extra. So you're able to do that. And the same with changing the price for that private group. Especially if you're only offering it to a private group that day, or because you're only offering it to a private group, you want to lower the price. Maybe, you know, you're just like trying to get a little bit extra. If you're, you know, deciding to open up right before Christmas to make some extra Christmas money, you can change your pricing up to hopefully like bring in some more people. Able to change your maximum group size for this one. You know, if you're just like not feeling doing a whole large group, you can change it for the maximum. And you can do repeat scheduling. So you can say, you know, this is going to repeat weekly for a little while. Yeah, change all of that. Very much customizable there. And then set a different price for each private group. I don't know why this is coming up for me. So then once you've made all of your necessary changes, you just hit schedule and bam, it is uploaded. Somebody can book in instantaneously once you offer that. So that is how the availability works. Any questions about that?
Yeah, so Abby, basically with Airbnb, or I suppose Eventbrite as well, if they book one person, you've got to do it. There's no getting out of it.
Yeah. But so let's see, where did I put that? So I have an event here on December 20th. I don't have anyone booked in here. I've made a decision, you know, I'm actually going to go visit relatives this day. I remove it from the calendar, update it, no problem, because no one's booked into it. Yeah, I'm going to go back into that January one. Oops. Scroll down, oops, remove from calendar. Super easy, super customizable. God help me if someone books in, but I can go in here, schedule in for Friday, offered for tomorrow. Quickly remove that. So yeah, if you had plans and then they got canceled and you're like, hey, let's, I got nothing going on tomorrow, let me throw this up, you can. So yeah, that's the really nice, easy, customizable part behind the availability, and that's the same in person and online.
So I suppose it's also good to have some experiences just on there down the track to keep us in the loop of Airbnb. And then if you're choosing to do it more often, you can sort of suddenly say, well, I'm free tomorrow afternoon, chuck it in there and see what happens.
Yep. Things to think about with this, like if you're doing it from home or you don't have to depend on your location, for example, like myself personally for my my in-person and someone maybe like Elisa, who wants to do it into her online in Timmins Community Gardens. She may only want to offer a month at a time in case they decide to, you know, someone wants to do their wedding in the community garden, so she's not able to access it. You know, generally people are going to make that plan sooner than or longer than a month away. So that's something to consider there, making sure that you're speaking with your location provider to make sure that your dates work out for them, because you're going to get screwed if you offer 6 months in advance and then they end up not being able to fulfill that for you. I'm not sure where Airbnb falls in terms of finding an alternative location. I would say that they would much prefer that as opposed to you canceling on them, and that just want you to probably communicate that with the guest. So yeah, that's something to say. You do not, however, have to put something up. So like I do have like August 17th in there because I personally wanted to be able to send it and be like, hey, look, mine's made it up. So I was able to send it to the trainers group to show you guys it, and so you can, you know, give it as an example, but you don't have to. Your event can sit idle, especially right now with COVID. We don't have dates available for when we can open up. It can sit there idle for however long, and then you can choose to put your dates in later. You know, if someone like I don't know, when we're able to travel again, if you're taking a month off to go traveling or something, you don't have to put dates in. If you don't want to worry about people contacting you and all that, you can just like leave it empty and then throw it back on later. But it is nice to have that visibility for later on. One thing that I'm finding is that if you have to put in dates if you're putting in dates for Airbnb, they won't show it. And this is more on the in-person, like if you select dates and your experience doesn't fall in those dates, they're not going to necessarily show people that your experience is in that area. I guess they've changed it when, I don't know if everyone kind of looked at that 100 list of changes. They have made some alterations to that, like flexible bookings. So if those dates fall reasonably close enough to when you're offering, they may be like, oh, well, you know, this is available this date, kind of thing, especially if you've got the option for people to contact you to see if you would be amenable to offering a different date. But yeah, it's not necessarily going to be there for them to see. So you don't have to put that in there to make it visible. It is nice though, in terms of 101 experiences, to put one date in there so that you could link your Airbnb to the 101 websites for later. So so for Airbnb, not necessarily important, but it is good for the 101 experiences side for that link in there. Any other questions about online Airbnb?
No, I think that's pretty much nailed it for us, Abby. My big thing is making sure we're getting that linkage with the 101 experiences, because that's the project we all love, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the one we.
Yeah, I think that is a very good point, and I like Lynn did with her Eventbrite. She put some extra information when she posted to the Facebook group. I'm going to put that in there. You know, in your description, make sure you mention that you've hosted this through Airbnb and you've had bookings and it's been successful. So It's a good
Oh,
point.
okay. So we've done our bookings through 101 experiences through Eventbrite, or just 101 experiences?
I would say, well, because it was integrated in this specific situation, I would say 101 experiences.
Okay, I would too.
And,
Yep.
and plugging 101 experiences too. That's always good.
Sounds good to me. Okay, I'm fried.
Absolutely. I didn't expect it to go so long, but we went very in depth, answered a lot of questions. So yeah, I think I'm gonna stop the recording now.